This is Gridiron Gore, where football collides with fear.
Welcome back to Gridiron Gore, the podcast where monsters wear helmets, curses last for seasons, and the scariest numbers are found on your fantasy scoreboard.
This is where horror meets football in the red zone of nightmares. I'm Davon, and this week we're talking him, and no, not the one from your nightmares.
And I'm Paige, and sometimes the chosen one isn't salvation, he's the start of a curse. And this is
Gridiron Gore. From haunted film reels to haunted franchises, from rituals of survival to fantasy busts, we've got a full body count this week.
Let's kick it off.
All right, so before we dive into the horror lab of the silver screen, there's a certain truth that echoes through every story of a chosen one, whether it's on the football field or in a terrifying film. It's a question of what we gain and what we lose in the pursuit of greatness.
All right, I got a bar for you.
Hmm?
For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Do you know where that's from?
I do not.
You need to go to church more. That's from Mark chapter 8, verse 36 and 37. And I think that quote kind of encapsulates all what we're about to talk about with the movie Him, a movie that turned obsession into execution.
All right, this one's about identity, power, and the terrifying price of being a chosen one. Sound familiar, NFL fans?
All right, so before we break off into discussion, I want to give a summary about Him. So for those who haven't watched it, this might be some spoiler alerts. Or excuse me, I guess this is the spoil alert because I might be giving away some of the nuggets of the movie. But I think even knowing what I'm about to say, I think it's not going to take away from it because I thought it was a great movie. So Him follows Cameron Cade, a promising young quarterback whose career is threatened by a brutal career-ending injury. With his NFL draft stock plummeting, his idol, the legendary GOAT quarterback Isaiah White, offers him a lifeline, an invitation to a private, secluded training camp. But this isn't a normal training camp. It's a sinister, cult-like ritual where Cam is pushed to his mental and physical limits. He learns that Isaiah's unparalleled success is not just from talent, but from a dark supernatural power passed down through generations of quarterbacks through a blood ceremony. And I'll just leave it there. I won't spoil anymore. Before we get into the themes and stuff, two things I want to say. One, we need to retire GOAT because mass media or mainstream media has killed and destroyed that phrase, and I feel like it's almost meaningless at this point.
Everyone's the GOAT these days. Yeah. Everybody.
It's so annoying. And then number two, what were your thoughts on the movie? I thought this was an excellent movie, so I just want to know your thoughts about things first.
Do you want first off my ranking of the movie, or rating of the movie, or just how I felt about the movie, as an athlete, as someone who's played football?
When you say rating, you mean 0 out of 5 stars, or okay, sure. Give your rating. Give your Rotten Tomatoes.
Me personally, coming from an athlete that's played the game,
I said give me your Rotten Tomatoes rating.
I'm giving you from my perspective.
Okay.
4 and a quarter star.
Okay. Why?
So coming from my background of playing football from a young jit, and
just say young boy. You're not from Florida or the South.
A young bull. Can I use bull?
You're not from Philly, but continue.
Young Mo. From someone playing from a youth, knowing all the things you have to do from Pop Warner to high school to preparing for college, through all these camps, having to go through a not ordinary day-to-day in college because you got practice, because you got film study, because you got treatments, because you got weight room. Understanding all that it takes to sacrifice to not even be great, because that's not even the sacrifice you need to be great. That's just the sacrifice you have to do just to be on a team.
To be competent.
So to be competent. So imagine the necessary things that you have to do to be great, to be what it takes to get drafted. Coming from where they brought us into the movie, we already could see that Cade, right? That was his name. Cameron.
Cade is the last name.
Was already at the top of his game, right? He was projected like a top pick. Not necessarily, don't know if he was one or not, but it was a top pick.
They left it ambiguous.
Yeah. And going through what happened to him to lead him to the path that took him to being in the going through this particular trial or camp or tryouts with Marlon's character. What's his character name again? Isaiah. I think any one of us would have at least gone or accepted that invite to work out with someone.
Okay, so we're just talking about why we like the movie.
I think it's relatable, like with the things that Isaiah's character was saying outside of what we come to find out later in the movie. But I think a lot of those things that he was saying is really relevant in not only football, college football, and professional football, but all other sports as well, basketball.
So you like the movie, sorry to cut you off, you like the movie because of the relatability, being a former athlete.
I like the some of the relatability that yes.
So do you think someone who does not have a sports background and so can't relate to it which is one of the themes of the movie about sacrifice and how far are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to sacrifice? How far are you willing to go? For someone that may not be able to relate to that on a athletic perspective, do you think that was still a good movie for?
Yes, because I don't. Outside of the athletic side, I think people can relate to it. So, like, let's say if you don't come from like privilege and you have to like grind to get where you are, work twice as hard to get half of whatever, how that saying goes. If you come from one of those sort of backgrounds, I think you would be able to relate to this movie because you know what it takes, or you're willing to do whatever it takes to get you and your family into a better situation.
So, and this will be my last question because I do want to dive into like the themes and the parallels of the movie. But so for you, this was a good movie, or I guess kind of a great movie if you gave it 4.25 stars, because of the emotional appeal.
Yeah, I think I definitely need to rewatch it like at home with captions on, just because of how they kind of layered some of the dialogue with the music. It was kind of hard to hear. I also have bad hearing. I also think where we were seated in the theater, like I think maybe if we were centered, we would have been able to like maybe display some of the music. I think because we were on the edge right next to one of the speakers, that maybe that speaker was just playing more of the music versus the dialogue that was going on. So that's one of the things I kind of like docked it for, was because I couldn't totally hear all of the dialogue. I feel like I missed some important parts or things that were said because of not being able to pick up what they were saying.
Okay. You didn't ask, but I'm going to give my review and rating of the movie as well.
I was going to ask you, but you asked me why. Okay. Why did I say it? So
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. Emotionally, I want to give it a 5-star, but I don't know. Or I shouldn't say emotionally. Off of impulse, I want to give it that high rating.
Don't be those people that gave Sinners a 10 out of 10.
Oh, but I think this is way different, and that's a whole. We started a podcast on movies. I think that merits its own conversation. But I thought this was a great movie, and I'm gonna attack the movie from a different perspective, even though I am a former athlete. I totally appreciate it and can connect to the level, not only as an athlete, but the grind and sacrifices that I had to make in law school, studying for multiple bars, and just to be successful. I guess, I don't know, that feels weird to call myself successful, but
You are successful.
Have somewhat
You
of
can
a
say it.
of a thriving. I don't know. That all sounds too haughty.
It's true. It's true. You can't knock yourself for being.
Anyway,
You know?
I can appreciate the grind and the sacrifice, which is one of the themes of the movie. But I'm gonna.
Got it.
I'm approaching it differently. So I really liked the movie because I thought the writing, which it's a Jordan Peele production, so you already know it can have a high level.
Yes.
Or high expectation for the level of writing. I thought the writing and the character development was great. I was most attracted to the imagery and the filmmaking of it all. And I know I talk about, because I took a couple film classes in college, and I think I know a little bit. I know enough to be dangerous and wrong. But like the type of, and I don't know what type of camera or film they use, but just like the imagery, which connects to another theme of like Satan, not necessarily Satanism, but like the ritualness of it, the perversion of certain Christian principles that they talk about, how they used it, the use of Cam's Jesus piece and how that changes as his character changes, how we go to see more red as we get deeper into the movie. I just thought the imagery and the literal filmmaking with the camera work, the editing, was just phenomenal. And I think the writing hits on so many levels. And as I said before, I think to understand Jordan Peele's works, you have to be well read.
Yes.
And so I think for this movie in particular, I think you have to know the Bible, at least the New Testament, because I think he's hitting on a lot of stuff there. I need to go back, like you, I want to rewatch it, but I want to rewatch it after I do some more reading, because I think there's also connections to maybe Shakespeare, as there's a lot of references to the Gladiator, so I'm just thinking of like old European writing that's going to talk about ancient Rome.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was just very cerebral, just very, and which I think has not been talked about enough, or maybe I'm just not on the right algorithm on the internet. Marlon Wayans stole the show for me.
Yeah.
I thought that was like top tier chef. Like that was an acting clinic, I felt like, that he put on in that movie.
I'm not surprised by it. Like, I'm a big Marlon Wayans fan. Like, I've watched more movies than people might know that Marlon even put out. Like, then this dates back to like Senseless, The Sixth Man, of course his role in Above the Rim. Like, Marlon can really act. And you gotta think that like one of his best friends is Omar Epps, who's also a great actor.
I didn't know they were best friends.
Yeah, they're best friends.
I didn't know.
I want to say,
I feel like their only friends are each other, the family.
I think the other one of them that used to always hang out was Marlo Santana from Steve Harvey Show. I could be wrong on that one, but I believe that was like a trio back in the day. But I know for sure Omar Epps and Marlon are like best friends.
That's another fun fact that I'm learning today. Okay. Anything else that you want to add
about the film,
or just what we were literally just talking about?
Yeah. Him in drama roles, or
Marlon.
Yeah, or like in serious roles. I think he could have probably gone this path sooner in his career versus the path he took. Not saying that the path he took was...
don't you feel like he was kind of typecasted? Granted, a lot of his stuff is like him and Sean doing together, or their older brothers are the writers of it. But do you think like part of that is because most of his like roles that people are more familiar with, he's like the dopey, funny sidekick that might be a little bit of a punk, a little scared, but brings brings the comedic relief, but is never like, I did not know he had that kind of range. And I just want him to be acknowledged.
Yeah. I think he was in either a Dungeons and Dragons movie or How to Train? No, How to Train. That's the animated movie, right? How to
Yeah.
Train. He was in Dungeons and Dragons like in the 2000s, so he
Not
has
gonna
the
watch
range.
that.
I think again that might have been like a missed opportunity between amongst the Waynes not doing something like that. I mean, I feel like they're only not serious or not funny role that was a mix of comedy and like seriousness was Mo Money, which Marlon was in also, but that again that's still classified as like a comedy to
I mean,
us.
I guess like they were getting bags, so stay in that lane.
You're right, yeah.
And
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Facts. Right? All right, so now I want to get into some of the themes of the movie, or at least themes that I was able to identify. I think it's a deep movie that probably need to watch more than once to really catch everything.
Yep.
But one of the first and I think major overarching, pretty obvious themes of the movie has to deal with sacrifice and Faustin's bargain. Like, what are you willing to sacrifice? And that's something that Isaiah, Marlon's character, brings up a lot and asks Cade a lot. We're going to dig into NFL players and teams in a little bit, but I just want your thoughts on like, and you mentioned a little bit, but if you could talk more about your thoughts on the movie and real life on like what it means, what are you willing to sacrifice? And bringing it back to the Bible, and I'm done talking because this was a really long question. For what shall a profit a man if he gains the world and loses his soul? What shall a man give in exchange for his soul?
So to speak on the sacrifice part, right? To play a sport for so long and to try to continue to grow throughout that sport to even like a college level, professional level, there's a lot that you have to give up. There's a lot of time that you have to sacrifice with being with your family because of training. There's a lot of times you have to sacrifice with your personal life because you don't have the time to be able to go out all the time or hang out with certain people all the time because of your strict schedule that you have to abide by. The sacrifices you give up just by putting your body out there on the line, that's a sacrifice in itself from a contact sport, even not even a contact sport, even like bowling, like that's repetitive actions like that with the roll of a ball, the swing of the ball, that takes a wear on your body, and as you continue to do the repetitive action, it wears and wears on your body, which ultimately can lead to like long term impacts where you maybe not walking right. In the bowling sense, you may not be able to use that arm in the same functioning way. I know me personally, I have no healthy ACL, so I will have knee issues for the rest of my life. I already have issues. I knew it was going to rain today before it rained, or I'm not even sure if it rained, but it's going to rain one of these days
tonight.
Coming
it's
up.
Supposed to rain
So,
tonight. So, in speaking of sacrifice, another theme of the movie that connects with it and which begs the question in the verse from Mark chapter 8 is, at what point does sacrifice border obsession? And how far do you push it?
say that one more time.
Okay. How far or at what point does sacrifice turn into obsession? And when have you gone too far?
I don't know how to answer that question.
Have you made it? Were you ever at that point in your athletic career? And it doesn't have to be limited to just football.
We have overly sacrificed and it became an obsession of me wanting to do it without technically considering it sacrifice? Or I guess I'm misinterpreting it.
After a certain point,
yeah.
Doesn't it know it's no longer sacrifice? You're no longer sacrificing things. It's becoming an obsession. Do you agree with that premise?
I agree with, yes.
Okay.
I do.
So then, based off that premise, damn, I don't even know if I remember the question. At what point have you left the point of sacrifice and you're now entering the realm of obsession? And have you ever been that far?
I think I have. I think I would say I hit that point when I like towards the end of my freshman redshirt year in college, because at this point I just became a starter. So now I got that feeling, that itch, like, ooh, like this is me just, seeing what I learned, but not even like fully like going into details with like this film study. Not really, I wouldn't say giving my all in the weight room. It was a struggle for me to become a lifter. So now like people see me, oh, you're so swole. I'm like, it wasn't always like this. I was like 150, 160 going into college as a college. Yeah, I was small.
Oh my God.
I was small. Like I couldn't bench 225. Like it was a lot of things that, as I got to college, as I understood and started learning like how to train, how to like watch film, how to read offenses and stuff. Once you get on the field, though, that's when like it switches, and you're the reason why your defense is now off the field, because you help make the play, you help relay a call, you got everyone in position to make sure that we were all functioning as one. So I would say at that point is where it kind of it triggered, and then throughout that off season, we were on campus working out every day. Sometimes twice a day, we work out, lift, and then we would do field work every day. So I'd say then that was the trigger for me.
Okay. So you felt like you were no longer sacrificing, you were just obsessed.
Yes. I was obsessed with not letting anyone take that feeling from me.
So not obsessed with like being the one, being the greatest at your position, being him.
One thing people can say about me, I never called myself like the GOAT. I never called myself the best player ever. Because if you gotta say it, then you're not it, in my opinion. Like you.
But were you working? For that, to be that, to achieve that?
I was definitely working to be the greatest safety in Division I football. Yes.
Okay. Well, there are other themes that I want to touch on, but for sake of time, I'm going to move on. So we're going to go back to these themes, but we're going to connect it to the NFL. So from the silver screen to the 50-yard line, when the story is about him, it's never just fiction, which I think you beautifully illustrated for us.
Yes. So speaking of him, let's talk Caleb Williams, number 1 pick in the 2024 draft, called the Savior, called a generational talent for the most part. 2 seasons in, and it feels like the horror script flip.
Yeah. The weight of expectation is its own monster, sometimes scarier than the pass rush. And I think Caleb's story, Caleb's arc right now, journey, it's probably better than arc because I don't know if he's made it to the climax yet, but I think touches on a few different themes in the movie. One, I think we sacrifice and maybe the lack thereof, given some critiques on him that have made it to the public. His identity, and I also think for many of rookies, their identity of being the one, especially these first round picks at the top half, like being the one, being the star, being the savior of the franchise. Because if you're going high in the draft, that means you're going to a very struggling team and franchise. And then with that, the weight of being the guy, the one, him, the generational talent, the savior. So I guess my question is, or first point that I want you to discuss with me is Caleb Williams' struggle of being the expectation of being the number 1 pick versus what he's actually panned out to be so far.
So, this take on Caleb, right? So, a lot of people will say, well, he came into a bad franchise. He came into the Bears. They were lacking success already. It's tougher for rookie quarterbacks to start off successful. It takes some time to build into it. So they said that about, there's evidence in the NFL, right, of players that haven't had success starting right off the bat. We got Bryce Young on the Panthers. We got Trevor Lawrence. Got Caleb. Some might even say Mac. No, I don't think Mac Jones started right away. But you also have success stories, right? You got C.J. Stroud, who.
But how do you think Cam is struggling with that?
I think he hasn't trained or transitioned his mindset from college to NFL. I still think he's thinking in that not premature way, but not taking everything into consideration with all that comes with being a professional starting quarterback.
So, is it safe to say that you don't think he's not sacrificing things in the way that a number one QB should be?
I won't say that. And I want to say, because this past weekend they played the Cowboys, he had a really great game against the Cowboys, but I don't want to say that to say, he's now that guy or playing as people expected him to, because the Cowboys defense has been pretty bad against everyone. Against the pass game.
But I guess what I'm asking is, like, how do you think he's dealing with, or how do you think he's dealt with, from what we're able to see on the field, or things that he's might have said in the public, or others have talked about him, of dealing with the pressure of being what other people have called you, a generational talent? Because his stats last year were not good. He was, he led the season last year with the most interceptions due to an overthrow. He had 52. Bo Nix came in second at 35. So he was almost 20 interceptions above the next ranking person before him. His completion percentage was 62.5%. He threw 20 touchdowns. He had 6 interceptions, but he was one of the most sacked QBs in the league last year, and he also had a QBR of 43.3.
I mean, from a passing perspective, 20 touchdowns and 6 interceptions is not terrible. The 68 sacks, that's something that, one, probably got addressed with the offensive line, because I know previously their offensive line wasn't great. But 2, we also know he liked to try to mimic what he would do in college, where he would try to extend plays where nothing was there versus throwing them away. So the 68 sacks is probably definitely due in part of him doing that bullshit scrambling. Sorry for the BS, the BS scrambling. But yeah, 6 interceptions. I mean, I hate to do this, but those passing stats are comparable to Jalen Hurts from last year. Although Jalen Hurts didn't play a full year, but those passing stats are pretty similar.
Jalen Hurts has a higher QBR from 2024.
Because he wasn't taking sacks.
But we're not here to compare quarterbacks, because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. So it's just about relating.
Yes.
We're relating Caleb to Cam.
Yes.
And do you think Caleb could go through, or is willing to go through, or has gone through the type of sacrifice that Cam?
No. Thank you for putting that question in that phrase. No, I don't think Caleb Williams has sacrificed what Cam did in the movie, or would be willing to sacrifice what Cam did in the movie.
Do you think Caleb is crumbling or is impacted by the pressure of anytime anyone talks about him, they're comparing him to Jaden Daniels, CJ, Bo, even Drake, of high round picks that didn't seem to struggle as much in their first year the way that he has, and 2 of which that had great success. CJ was considered like the outlier in rookies, making it to the playoffs his rookie year, and then Jaden blew that out of the water. And even in CJ's sophomore, what is it called? Your sophomore slump, which that's another another hill I'm willing to die on, like I am about Jalen, because I don't understand how it's a slump when you still make it to the playoffs and your weapons at different points of time are all getting injured. Neither here nor there. But Caleb is getting compared to these people and their success every time he has a game or every time he's the topic of conversation. How do you think that weighs on a player?
I think as a quarterback, especially when you know you're the guy, I don't think it's weighing in on him as much as if it was someone that wasn't drafted first round. Because from his
Jaden was drafted first round. He was just the number 2 pick.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, let's for example, when Dak Prescott became quarterback for the Cowboys, he was a 4th round pick. So your expectation is not as, you're not.
It's lower.
Exactly. So you have more of a chance of getting taken out of that starting role than Caleb will. The organization will.
Yeah, but there's less pressure on you. I'm talking about the pressure of being the number 1 first round pick to save a franchise, where your peers that your organization passed over have had more success than you, and every mistake, every game, you are being compared to the people that the Bears could have taken but passed on for you.
It's a small sample size. I don't think he's concerned from the 1 year comparing Jaden to himself or someone else.
Think about that practically, though, Davon.
I get what you're saying. Like, if this is me at quarterback and I see Jaden, who had a much better coaching structure in Washington, he had better.
Okay, so now you have the belle of the ball as your head coach.
It's his first head coach opportunity. Dan Quinn had. Listen, because you got to hear me out to understand why Jaden Daniel was so successful.
Well, I'm not arguing that. I understand that.
Yeah.
Jaden, even though people casted off Washington, Jaden really ended up in a better situation.
Yes, he did.
CJ ended up in a better situation. That's not what we're litigating here. What I'm saying is, you as the player that are hearing, like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, that's okay that they keep comparing me to Jaden and CJ. It's because they were in a better spot. So I'm not gonna take that personally. That's not how people really think, Davon.
If you
be real.
Listen, if you think every person is supposed to take the outside noise and let it impact them, that's not either, though.
But you're making it like it doesn't happen. All I'm asking is, how would one be impacted by that? And I feel like you're not giving a true, honest. Everyone is human. I'm not saying everyone is as sensitive as the next person or take things as personally as the next person, but we are all human.
Yes.
You hear for 18 weeks plus about how these 2-3 people have done so much better, but you're the number 1 draft pick and you're supposed to be doing X, Y, and Z. You don't think that has an impact on somebody?
Yeah, but coming in as the number 1 overall pick means that you're going to the worst team from the previous year.
Sure.
So, like, expectations would be to get a winning season. No, he didn't get a winning season, but you got to understand that you're not. He
had terrible numbers, though. He was not playing well. He was not, according to other folks, in the lab reading, like watching film. He wasn't like putting in, at least from what other people are saying, he wasn't really putting in all of the work that he should have. And now even his new coach now is talking about sloppiness and things that, like, habits that you pick up in Pee-wee that he is not doing.
Well, I told you I don't think he is willing to sacrifice to be great. I told you that. Like, am I seeing upside in him from this season so far? Yeah, you can see
he has made improvements.
The numbers are showing. The offensive scheme seems to be more similar to what he ran in college with Lincoln Riley when he was at Oklahoma and USC. So it's seeming to get back to what he's familiar with. What he's doing, like his studying habits, that's just something, again, he's not willing to sacrifice to be great. So, and if he's not willing to do that, I'm not sure if the outside noise impacts him. And that's what I'm trying to get at.
Gotcha.
The way his personality is and the way, or I guess as much attention or feedback he's been getting since college with the finger painting nails, with all those things, I think he might just really be blocking everything out and not caring what no one's saying. And that's people can do that. People have that ability to do that.
I'm not one of those people.
I'm not one of those people either. I'm gonna read what you're writing about me. I might get a burner account if you say something too crazy. Yeah. So that's all I'm gonna say on that.
All right. So let's move on to another theme of the movie, which I don't even know the right term to describe it, but the film also explores and dissects I can't think of a good word. Because I want to use the rituals, but I also use rituals, even though ritualistic acts come in again later. But without giving too much away,
Rites of passage?
Sure, let's go with that. Rights. So, yeah, dealing with the rights. So in the movie, Marlon Isaiah is the star quarterback of the team called the Saviors. Which, again, like, we all got to go back and reread some books from the New Testament because I think that will help with this movie a lot. Anyway, they're called the Saviors. Cam grows up watching and idolizing the Saviors with the goal and dream, really through his father, to one day be as great of a quarterback as Cam. Gets that opportunity. Then the film starts exploring not only the history of the quarterback position, which I've done some research. We got to do a whole episode just on that because wildly fascinating and interesting. But anyway, we talk about the history of the quarterback position, and then we later see the line of succession of quarterbacks for the Saviors and whether or not Cam is going to be the next in line. And so that made me think, quarterback covenant, let's call it that. That made me think of one of the most stable franchises in the NFL, and I think the most stable franchise when it comes to the quarterback position, and that's the Green Bay Packers. So I did some history. Y'all talk about Howie Roseman. I think over in Green Bay, I don't know the name of the ownership, but I think they're doing some blood rituals right now. So since 1950, the Packers have had only 34 starting quarterbacks. We're only going to stick to the last three. So we're going to talk about Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and Jordan Love. But three of their quarterbacks since from the 60s, so Aaron, Brett, and Bart Starr would be the third one. They've won 5 NFL championships for the franchise, and all three of them were named NFL's most valuable player at least once in their careers. So when Favre came around, he has started in the most games as a quarterback for the Packers, and I think he leads the NFL in general with playing the most games ever, both in the regular season and the off season.
I think Tom Brady might have passed him. It's between those two.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, while Favre was there, he starts to flirt with retirement in 2002. Rodgers gets drafted in 2005. In 2008, so now we're at year 3 of Rodgers being the backup to Brett Favre. Favre's like, I want to leave. I'm going to retire. And then Packers like, cool. Now we got to start getting Rodgers ready. And then Favre says, JK, I'm not going anywhere. And then the Packers was like, nope, too late. And so Favre gets traded to the Jets in August of 2008. Something I forgot to mention. So while during Favre's tenure, he won 3 regular season MVPs in 95, 96, and 97. He took the Packers to the Super Bowl in 97 and 98, and they won in their first Super Bowl appearance in 97. Brett Favre was 27 years old during that Super Bowl win.
Dumb.
Rodgers, after playing backup quarterback to Favre for 3 years, steps up to the leading man role. He wins 4 MVP, regular season MVPs in 2011, 2014, 2020, and 2021. He makes 1 Super Bowl appearance with the Packers. They win in 2011.
Against my damn Steelers. I remember that game.
And he was 27 years old. Jordan Love was drafted in 2020 to be the backup and QB in waiting for for Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers gets traded to the Jets in April of 2023. So after that 3-year holding period, Jordan picks up the mantle as the starting QB. Jordan Love is 27 years old. What are your thoughts on all of that information?
I mean, it's a whole lot of coincidences for me. That's all I'm gonna say. And if it is some ritual things going on, it makes sense why we lost to them in the Super Bowl for that. For them to start that second sequence of the 27-year-old quarterback in Green Bay, getting their Super Bowl wins.
So I just want to say, since the 90s, Green Bay has had 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough time to pull the stat for other teams across the league, but I think the last I saw was from 2023. The Browns were the most unstable at the quarterback position. So what's going on at Green Bay? Are they making blood deal sacrifices for their QBs?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. They Lambeau Field, the Vince Lombardi Trophy. It's a lot of things that keep tying back to Green Bay. Listen, I wouldn't.
Well,
put it
they
past them.
essentially founded football, right?
Yeah, they were pretty much the most dominant team in the NFL in the beginning phases of the NFL. Early on, so like that time with Bart Starr and them were playing, they were essentially winning everything every year, or at least making it to the championship every year. Them and the Bears. So yeah,
and now look at the Bears. So did the Bears not get in on the sacrifice?
Hey, they said we can only pick one a year. All right, only one of you can get this sweet juice, and it's look. We'll come back to this episode at the end of the year to see if the Packers win it. There needs to be some investigations.
Before I knew these interesting coincidences regarding Green Bay's quarterbacks, I did make a prediction about Green Bay in the postseason. Did I not?
You might be in on it.
Don't put me on that, baby. I give my tithes to the Lord. All right, that's it.
Amen to that.
All right. Anything else that you want to talk about as far as the quarterback covenant in the NFL?
I don't. I mean, again, they have been the most stable with that quarterback room. The second team that comes close to me, probably Ravens, but it doesn't.
Actually, I believe it's the Chiefs that, according to an article I read from 2020, that was from 2023, they were ranking the most stable franchise quarterback franchises, most stable quarterback franchises with the most stable quarterback position. And Chiefs were down bottom. Because when was Patrick drafted?
Like 2015, 16? And then Alex Smith was only on a team for a few years before he got there, and he left.
So, but I mean, that's the point. It's been like 10 years.
But Alex Smith was only there for like 3 years before Pat Mahomes got there, because he came.
But I guess like within the last 10 years.
Oh, if we talk about within the last 10 years, I make
Ravens
sense.
Would probably
Ravens between Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson. They've only had 2 since 2008. Like if we go in the last 20 years, I'd say probably the Ravens, in my opinion, because again, Joe Flacco and Lamar, and Joe got a Super Bowl, but Pat Mahomes got 2. So
yeah, but that has nothing to do with stability.
Yeah, but it's stability and winning too. You can have a stable quarterback and losing every year. That don't do you no good.
But then you wouldn't really be stable, right? Because now you're switching quarterbacks. You're getting higher draft picks, and one of the prime things to pick up in a draft is a quarterback.
True. Yeah.
I think the Colts were like second worst. I think Browns are 1, Colts maybe are 2.
Well, they could have been up there, but they quarterback just retired on them. Andrew Luck, that boy was the truth, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't want to play no more." In this,
Doesn't he have like a horrific injury history?
He did have a bad injury, but I don't know if that's the reason why he stopped playing. But that boy was good.
All right. Last, again, there are many themes. I feel like I keep repeating it, but the last thing I kind of want to touch on that I think was just another easy, obvious theme to pick up from the movie is the ritualistic activities of athletes.
Yes.
And it's for longevity, which I think also circles back to the idea of sacrifice and obsession, because most of them are engaging in a lot of these things, but some of them take it to the nth degree of protecting their body, which is their investment, which is the moneymaker, but also not wanting to, I think, let go of the glory.
The obsession, yeah.
So 3 players that come to mind that I want to highlight, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, and Tom Brady. Now, Tom was trying to bring his trainer, health guru into the locker room and with everyone else. But I just want to talk about like some of the things that they do. So Derrick Henry spends more than $250,000 on body maintenance. Yeah. He has a personal chef, which probably most of the guys have a personal chef in the league. I don't think that's anything out of the ordinary. But a theme that I noticed with all of them, as far as their diet goes, they all refrain from refined sugar. And I'm here to tell you, sugar is worse than a narcotic. It's the worst drug for your body.
Don't know it.
The most addictive substance for your body. So refined sugar, they don't do. They stay away from dairy, which we should be staying away from dairy. It's an inflammatory. It's not good for you. Gluten, which honestly is hard for me to give up. And fried foods, they all don't do. They all eat holistically. Another thing that they do is the amount of money they spend on rehab and body work. Christian went out of the country to get advanced research level stem cells to fix his calf injury, and so forth. So I just want to, being a former college athlete, you will have 57 gym memberships mainly for the recovery aspect of it. So I think you play into a lot of that too. So I just want you to talk about it a bit.
Yeah. So what I'll say is, those things matter, right? So I can specifically speak to like the cold plunge, the sauna, steam room aspect, hydrotherapy aspect. I can't speak for the diet because I'm not.
I can speak on the diet, but TENS machine.
The TENS unit. That's low level.
I know, but that's all that I can afford.
So previously I had a membership for a gym that had the cold plunge and hydrotherapy. So I do that all the time. Body felt great. I stopped the membership. Body started breaking down immediately. Like, I feel everything. I had a calf injury. I thought I had to go to Germany myself to get the stem injections in my calf. So, like, especially at this age where I'm at 30 plus, like, you have to, you have to take your body into consideration. You should do it all the time, but at a point it may not always be available to you. So, like, from my standpoint, and I hate to bash Dell State, but we didn't have, like, the resources available to us all the time, like someone from Alabama, someone from Georgia, right? So we had we could take ice baths, but you didn't have the ability to take it anytime you wanted to. It was, like, once throughout the week, if that. They gave you bags ice, but you weren't able to technically have that ice bath available, which is in their treatment center. You may not always had the ability to get the massages, like I would assume those athletes. Like, so these professional athletes, because they have the money. Well, not everyone has the money like Derrick Henry to spend 200 and what was the amount that he spends? $250,000. 250,000 into his body just to keep his maintenance. You know what I mean? But if you're willing to use that money, if you got it, and continue to invest in yourself, that's someone that wants to be the greatest. He wants to make sure that his name is in the books forever. Someone that wants to win the championship every year. Because you don't have to do that. Like, you can technically just do your own stuff and, do whatever the Ravens athletic facilities, their sports medicine team have you do, and be cool. Because that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people don't do this. They might to some extent, but this is up to them doing this to make sure that they're preparing themselves for the moment.
So in the movie, we see Cam getting continuously injected with something that is just the shrug emoji, and we don't really know what that substance is. And we see Isaiah's character, Marlon's character Isaiah. He's constantly getting blood transfusions that I think he tells us, like, it's just his blood. He's just getting a new fusion of more oxygenated,
more of his own
blood to help him, which may or may not be something else later down the road.
Yeah.
But a good part of the film is also with them. So we see them in hyperbaric chamber. Well, Cam in hyperbaric chambers dealing with his head trauma. At what point, or is there a point? So let me back up.
Yeah.
So we see them do all these things to take care of their body to go through the recovery. And it's one for Cam. We're seeing it as like he's just trying to recover and to heal his brain from the traumatic brain injury. From Isaiah, we're starting off with the idea of he's just trying to stay as young and healthy as he can, even though he's entering the age of retirement.
Yes.
As the movie progresses, we see that the treatment and recovery that they are engaging in has a sinister element to it.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying Thomas, Christian, or Derek are engaging in voodoo, but does it ever get to a point that this is way too much? Is there ever a point of we've now gone beyond, I'm just trying to take care of my body for longevity purposes, but now I'm trying to be like whatever the step above longevity is. Like, I crave and I worship the praise so much that now these things that are just to have a healthy, holistic body, I'm now using for darker practices.
I want to say no. And
before you finish, I just want to say, because when I first heard last season about him Christian going to Sweden and doing the stem cell stuff, to me, that felt like, are we playing God right now? I was a little weirded out at the very beginning of it.
I mean, their medicine field is more advanced than ours. So
sure.
If I needed to get surgery, it probably would be over there too, or somewhere not in the United States. But yeah, at the end of the day, you have to think that this is their job. This is their career. This is no less than you having to take a CLE to continue to educate your mind to practice law.
CLE feels way less than some of this stuff.
I mean, the NFL is a $1 billion industry.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And when you're top athletes, like Derrick Henry, probably top 2 running backs in the league right now. Christian McCaffrey, top 5 right now when he's healthy. Tom Brady was the GOAT.
I knew you were going to say
by
that.
everyone's
Please stop
metrics.
Saying GOAT.
I mean,
we got to retire
when
that
we
word.
talk about football and when we talk about basketball, there's 2 GOATs. There's Michael Jordan, basketball, Tom Brady in
Yes.
NFL.
Yes.
Those are the only.
No, I agree with that, but I'm just saying we constantly hear, go to this.
Yeah.
They said it 50,000. That's my critique
Yeah.
on the movie. Him. They said goat one too many times for me.
For sure. You gotta overuse it so you can make your point that way. But yeah, I don't technically think this is. I think this is just them putting themselves at an advantage, in a sense.
But do you think? Sorry, I keep cutting you off. But do you think? Because I immediately thought of Tom and his homeboy.
Alex.
Yeah, at a certain point, does that become a negative distraction? Because they were causing a commotion. That specific duo was causing a commotion in the locker room, and William did not like that.
We winning.
William didn't like it though.
Hey,
William Belichick did not like that.
People not gonna like you. Look what happened with Jerry Jones and my boy coach. What was his coach name? Jimmy Johnson. Is it Johnson?
Yeah, Jimmy
Johnson. Look at people are going to disagree with what you're doing even while you're winning, because I don't know why. Like me personally, if I'm Bill, if it's working, if you're treating other players and the players themselves saying, yeah, this is actually working, why would you be mad about that? Like
William was not with it.
And look where he's at now. He's not. No NFL teams won him, which is crazy, because if I'm the Giants, I would have loved to have Bill Belichick turn my team around.
I feel like it's another. Well, no. Oh no, it's the Jets that he's like, I'll never go to them.
Rightfully so. I mean, I get it, but like
maybe they colluded against him too.
Could be.
All right. This one last thing, because it made me think of it, and then we can move on. Watching the and I hate to admit this, watching the Dallas Cowboys documentary on Netflix. Mm-hmm. I think it was like episode 1 or 2, when they're going over how Jerry bought the franchise, he kicked out the old coach.
Yep.
And then brought in Jimmy.
Tom Landry. Yep.
Yeah, I couldn't think of his name. And Jimmy, who was having a decent college coaching career at the time, married, told his wife once he agreed to hop on with Jerry, was like, divorced his wife because he didn't have time for her anymore because the focus was winning a Super Bowl.
Now that's sacrifice.
I would say, might as well be my question.
That's the biggest sacrifice.
Sacrifice or obsession?
I'll say sacrifice at that. I'll say sacrifice because he hasn't won anything yet. Obsession is if he's winning and then he starts losing on a professional level. That's when it becomes obsession. Now I got to cut off everything to help me.
He cut off everything to win. From the very beginning,
I think it's more delusion. Like I don't understand, because if that's the case, he would have divorced her before when he was still in college, because he was still coaching at a big level
he
in
was
college.
A head coach.
Yeah. So he said
it requires more of my time.
I think he just was using that as the out, honestly, because I don't see, because one, if he's coaching, honestly speaking, I'm pretty sure this is what most coaches, they hardly see their families anyway unless it's off season. So I don't think that would.
I guess you see your spouse less in the NFL as a coach than in college. If it's more traveling, or the travel is longer.
I think travel is longer, yeah. So I think NFL might be, because even with the players, they say he's only home for but so long type of thing. So yeah, I don't know. Wild. He was using that as an excuse. He wanted out of that thing long before he got to the Cowboys. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
All right. So that wraps that up. Legacy haunts, pressure kills, and only the strong or the ritual bound survive.
All right, now let's drag some bodies out of the fantasy graveyard. Mainly my team, because I'm 0-3 in a lot of my leagues, and who would have thought, right?
These were supposed to be the stars of your roster, the chosen ones. Instead, they've turned into jump scares every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday.
They don't want to be the GOAT. They aren't going to take that sacrifice. I tell you that for sure. All right, so I'm gonna get us started. We're gonna start at the wide receiver position, right? A lot of people, even you, Paige.
I was gonna say he's on my team, so I can talk about him first if you want me to.
We're gonna start with Brian Thomas Jr.
A dud
of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So pre-draft rankings, and this is based off of Mike Clay from ESPN. He was wide receiver 8, right? So far, he has not had over 10 points in PPR leagues. For those that don't know, PPR is point per reception. So he hasn't broke 10 yards yet in point per reception leagues. So far in the season,
I'll tell you what he's done. You keep talking.
So far he has 7 catches on 25 targets. So he's getting the volume. He's getting the targets. 7 catches on 25 targets for 115 yards.
This past Sunday, he gave me 8.5 points. How do I go to last week?
It's a little arrow.
Okay.
Yeah, click into his name.
I don't know how to do all that.
Let me see.
I can understand it this way.
Okay.
Week 2, 8.9 points. Week 1, 9 points. And he is my wide receiver 1. Or was my wide receiver 1.
Was. So yeah, he's not doing great so far.
Dub.
Not doing great.
Well, I guess I'll ask a question.
Yeah.
So part of the issue was I think people thought that he and Travis, I can't even talk. We're gonna have this Travis. That's how bad they got me rattled. Trevor was going to have this resurgence of a year, that they were going to have this great chemistry, and so he was going to be, I think he's supposed to be wide receiver 1 on their team.
Yeah.
And that hasn't been the case. What do you think is going on with that?
To see 7 catches on 25 targets, I'm going to say that him and Trevor Lawrence aren't in sync yet. To be fair, I did see him drop or avoid some catchable passes as well, so I'm not sure if the mental isn't there yet, or he's trying to get Trevor Lawrence out of his job, because he had a very good rookie year, and most of that was without Trevor Lawrence, because Trevor Lawrence went down with an injury last year. So
he was doing blood sacrifices in the opposite direction.
Might be. He like, yeah, this ain't my quarterback. So yeah, he hasn't been producing so far. I'd put him on a trade block if you can.
I might need to do that.
All right, next receiver. I'm gonna go to Drake London. He was another one of my players. He's ranked wide receiver 10. So far he has 16 catches on 27 targets for 159 yards with 0 touchdowns.
He gave me 8 points this past week.
Yeah, so
3.4 points week 2.
Yikes, that's not great.
9.5 points week 1.
Listen, you're not gonna win fantasy when you're in the top 10 for your position group and you're performing top 40, top 50. That's not good value.
Tell me about it.
It's not good value.
Tell me about it.
Not good value. I'm gonna move on to the next wide receiver, T. Higgins. T. Higgins was wide receiver 11 in the pre-draft ranking.
I want to push back on T because he held it down for me last year, so I have a soft spot for him.
What have you done for me lately?
That's messy.
Not a lot.
For week 3 though, they have a not good quarterback.
I get that
coming in. Week 2, Joseph was injured. Like, what quarter was he injured? I can't even remember. But he didn't finish the game. Because you know what? Guess who else I also have? Joseph. Out for 3 months, Joseph. But anyway, isn't some of that though, like, is T really a dub, or is it just a shaky quarterback situation at the moment?
Yeah, he's a dub. He was ranked 11. I understand things change, but that team still has 2 number 1 receivers out there, and they're both underperforming. Chase would have been up here too, but he had a good game.
I feel like it's just not fully their fault. I'm giving Jamar and T grace.
I'm not.
Drake and Brian though.
Well,
KMA. KMA.
I'm gonna switch over to running backs. I really only have one here. There's been some injury. Well, no, there's no injuries at running back. So I only have one.
My running backs are thriving.
Yeah, I only have one running back here. So this running back is the only running back that was ranked in the top 10 that's still not ranked in the top 10 based off of the.
And I'm glad
stats.
I didn't get him.
And
he was someone that I thought I wanted.
Yeah. And it's Ashton Genty. He was ranked running back number 5. So far on the year, he has 47 carries for 144 yards, 3.2 yards per carry, 5 catches on 4 targets.
Woof.
So that's on average around, or he has about 25 fantasy points, depending on
Total.
Yes, total. Derrick Henry gave me that in week 1 by himself.
I was about to say.
Jamar Chase gave some people that week 2.
Bajan gave me 30-some points week 1.
There you go. David Montgomery, the second string running back on the Lions, gave you 30 plus against the Ravens. Unacceptable. This rookie was highly thought of. We thought he was going to be able to utilize him in this offense. Is this proven what they were saying in college true? That because he was playing in Boise State and they were playing down the competition, that he was able to put up those high impactful numbers?
Well, I guess I have a question for you. Is his lack of performance him? Is it the scheming from the OC? Is it poor blocking from the line? Like, what do you think?
I don't know exactly. I know their head coach, Pete Carroll, he likes to run the ball a lot. And which
I think was another reason why people had high expectations.
He has a history of successful running backs. USC, he had Reggie Bush. Oof. When he was in Seattle, he had Marshawn Lynch.
Ooh.
Kenneth Walker for a little bit before he left there. So, I don't know. Maybe it's early. Maybe they're all gelling. I was trying to pull up the Raiders stats really quick just to see, like, how bad is the team in general do. I know their receivers have been thriving. When do they play this week?
Yeah, but is their total numbers gonna let you know if it's an issue with the play calling, if it's an issue with the line, if it's an issue with the running back himself?
I mean, week 1, Geno threw for 362. It could. If you can throw for 362, that doesn't seem like it's a blocking issue, right? Because if it's a blocking issue, usually your blockers are worse when it comes to pass blocking. Pass blockers are harder to find than it is run blockers because you have such athletic pass rushers that's where the advantage is. Great pass rushers aren't normally great run stoppers, and teams are looking more so for great pass rushers to come off the edge than they are run stuffers. Like you really can't name 10 great run stuffers like from an interior in NFL, but you could name 10 pass rushers easily. So I don't know. Maybe they just need to figure it out. Need some more time. Again, we're only in week 3, so there's a whole lot of season left. All right, so we're going to switch over. I don't have any quarterbacks because the quarterbacks that I would consider bust, they're hurt, so I'm not going to hold that against them. Everyone else, those top 10 quarterbacks, they're pretty much in that range. We're
short on time, but I just want to Michael Penix Jr., what happened?
To be fair, a lot of people, he probably didn't get drafted in a lot of fantasy leagues. Like, he was one that you would pick up as like an addition.
I don't think he was available in any. Not that I was particularly looking for him, but he wasn't available. In my leagues,
he probably was picked as a backup, right? So, 24, he'd be around that 15 to 24 range. I'd have him closer to the 20. I have him probably like 15 because of the weapons he has around him. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. Week 1 was pretty all right, and then he just like sold it against the Panthers. The Panthers don't really have a great defense.
No.
All right, so I have a few at tight ends.
I feel like we can just wrap them up all as one. The tight end position is a dub this year.
Yes.
Disappointments all around the board.
Yes. To start, we're going to start with TJ Hawkinson. So he has 9 catches on 13 targets, 76 yards, 1 touchdown. I'm going to blame this more on the quarterback situation for the Vikings. TJ Hawkinson is the tight end for the Vikings. I'm going to blame this on the quarterback situation. Especially with a young quarterback like J.J. McCarthy. I know he got hurt, but usually when a quarterback comes out, their main guy is the tight end. Tight end is usually their bailout guy. Granted, we know Justin Jefferson is on the Vikings, so you have a true number 1 wide receiver, but they don't really have their number 2 or 3 wide receivers. They don't have Jordan Addison.
He's still out.
Suspended. I don't know who the third was. I know that it's between Naylor or Adam Thielen. So you would think while Adams is out, what's his name? Hawkinson would be the one that would take some of his workload or his target share, which is not. 13 targets, 9 catches. I don't know. Next person.
Let me talk about this next person.
Go ahead.
Let me talk about Mr. Mark Andrews. All right. So week 1, Mark had 1 point. Week 2 against, where did he go? Did I already bench him?
He would have had the same thing. He only had 1 catch.
No, hold on. Why can't I find him? Oh, it was even worse. Week 2 against the Cleveland Browns, he had 0.9 points.
Yikes.
So, you try to learn from your mistakes, like learn your lessons, make adjustments accordingly. So I put Mr. Andrews on the bench against Detroit because Detroit has maybe not as good of a defense as the Browns, but they're a formidable opponent.
Yeah.
Guess how many points Mr. Andrews had on my bench?
25.
24.1.
I seen that game. He was cooking. Listen, I invested a lot of stock in Mark Andrews. I was like, yes. People aren't drafting Mark Andrews at this point in the draft. I thought it was a steal. But he's stealing from me. He's stealing from me.
Davon, if I could cuss on this podcast, that's how I feel about Mark Andrews. Carry on.
I feel that. And we got one more tight end. This one's a rookie. Colston Loveland from the Chicago Bears. I believe he got drafted in the first round. Thought to come in and kind of get right into the passing game. Came from Michigan. So far in 3 games, he has 3 catches on 6 targets, 43 yards, 7.3 catches, fantasy points on average. That's not great. Not great. It's not great.
I didn't draft anyone from the Bears because I didn't trust the quarterback situation.
Listen, they beat up on the Cowboys.
Who's not?
You're right. It's like a slugfest every week for them. I don't know what they can do, and they just lost CD Lamb, so I don't know. But yeah, Colston Loveland, he was tight end 11. Also, Mark Andrews was tight end 9. TJ Hawkinson was tight end 5.
Just dub the whole tight ends. I wish I didn't have to play.
Last year we saw.
You know who burned me all last year?
I know. We know. I think that's how our opening for episode 1 was. Who's gonna burn you? Travis Kelce. Yeah.
All right, just one last quick question on this segment. Out of everyone you discussed tonight as a bust in fantasy, is it your recommendation that we should continue to put these people on our bench because maybe there might be a turnaround, maybe there might be an opponent, a favorable opponent that we think would be a good matchup for them? Or are these players that you are suggesting we drop or trade?
I would definitely trade Ashton Genty at this point. Just to get you some value somewhere else. T. Higgins, I trade him too. The quarterback situation. Yeah. Unless they make a trade for quarterback, I don't see that situation getting any better.
Russell.
They need to get Jameis. But they probably going to keep.
They're not. They want Jameis as a backup.
Yeah, they're not going to back up from Russell.
They should get my cousin unless he's about to take back his position from Michael.
Kirk Cousins?
Yes.
That would be a perfect fit. He's a year removed from that Achilles injury now. The shoulder injury he got in season last year should be gone. A lot of pieces, but I think they would have to take on some of his contract, which I don't think they got the money for. That's the only thing I think that's holding.
They probably do have the money. They're the ones that spend the least.
They paid a lot for that trio.
True.
Paid a lot for that trio.
All right. Any final words on fantasy?
I'm just praying for a win in my two main leagues. I can't go 0-4. You don't come back from 0-4. You can come back from 0-3. 0-4? I don't know.
You better find a goat and sacrifice.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to the people in the Saviors.
In fantasy football, the scariest part isn't losing. It's realize you started him.
Yeah.
Or benched him, Mark.
Should make... The way my players are performing, I wish I would have been best ball league where it just take the best people wherever they are on your bench and just put them in a start rotation. Might consider that next year because I got talent. They just may not always be starting.
All right. In horror, the final scene is rarely the end. In football, the same truth lingers. Your season isn't dead until the last whistle.
From him to haunted quarterbacks, from rituals of survival to fantasy corpse, this week's Gridiron was soaked in gore.
If you're loving the carnage, scream into the algorithm, rate, review, and share your league with us.
And remember, whether it's horror or football, if someone tells you he's the one, maybe run.
Definitely run. All right. And this has been Gridiron Gore.
Uses.